Hello everybody, you're probably noticing that this doesn't look like my normal camera setup, or it's kind of the same setup and background for vlogs, but it's not the same in terms of maybe quality, maybe sound, and kind of maybe the framing and kind of the wideness of the frame maybe looks a bit different. That is because I got a new phone. I have decided to start, as I've got loads of free time and I've been wanting to do this sort of thing for a while, I've decided to start a new reading vlog or vlog monthly series on my channel. So every month we'll go up this one kind of reading vlog style video, and it's going to have a certain theme. I'm going to try and name this vlog series. I'm going for, it's not the greatest, but it's the only thing that I could come up with at the moment, and it is the this versus that kind of vlog series. Basically, I've wanted to do a vloggy sort of series for a while because I love doing reading vlogs and I love doing creative ones and doing ones that, you know, have a theme. I decided to do one where every month I get 2 books and they are either a comparison of each other or a comparison of something else. For example, I'm just going to jump into what we're going to be doing this month. So to start it off, for this month, this was like my original idea was to just do this one theme throughout, like that's just the theme for it and that's the only thing I would do. But then I decided that I wanted to do a different theme, or hopefully a different theme every month. I might, if I can't come up with a theme or don't really have any motivation to do a one and just want to kind of do a really quick easy one, I will come back to this theme that I'm doing now because it's quite a cool one, quite a fun one to do. But for this one, I'm going to be reading 2 books which are the highest and lowest rated books on my Goodreads TBR. Obviously it's very explanatory why I would want to do that, because it's kind of showing like, are these ratings on Goodreads accurate? Like, do I agree with them? Obviously I'm very highly inspired by Megan's over on Megan's books reading vlogs, because hers are just amazing, and like the format and how she does them, I really love them. So I'm kind of gonna be definitely inspired by her. I'm sorry Megan, but you're too good, I can't not. So the 2 books I'm gonna be reading, and one of them I already started yesterday. The first one, which is the highest rated, is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. This is the highest rated book on my Goodreads TBR, and it has been for so long, and I've been meaning to read it for so long, but I've just been very intimidated by it because it's such a big book. It's a high adult fantasy, and I'm just very intimidated by it, but at the same time I want to read it. I was gifted this actually over Christmas by Charlotte, and I will link her Twitter in the description below. She's great, I love her. So thank you for Charlotte for giving me this, even though it was back in like December or whatever it was. I'm very excited to read it and just to see if it does hold up as being the best book or one of like the highest rated books. Like I want to see if it's true. I don't know too much about it. I know it follows this guy in Miss Fantasyland about his life, and it has like a university aspect to it, so I'm very intrigued by it, but I don't know too much. But I feel like I don't want to know too much. I think if I know too much, if I know too much about the plot, that might make me more intimidated and more scared to read it. I'm currently only about 20 pages through, and so far I am enjoying it. I read about 10 pages when I was just downstairs with my parents last night, and I think this book is definitely a better experience when you're just alone and you've got no background noise, or kind of, when I say background noise, like no background noise, I mean like no talking, no other distractions, because I like having reading music and kind of like ASMR rooms on when I'm reading, or having like read me videos. So those things are really good, I think, for really engaging with this book. But I think anything else is, you really need to concentrate on this book and you really want to be in the atmosphere and in this book. So I definitely think if you're going to read it with no distraction. You need to be engaged. And to oppose that for the lowest rated book on my Goodreads TBR, this book I actually started reading at the end of last year, but DNF'd or kind of stopped reading just because I wasn't feeling it, but I wanted to give it a second try, and that is Zenith by Sasha Alsberg and Lindsay Cummings. We all know this book, and we all know that it's not very highly rated and not a lot of people like it. I want to give it a chance. I want to give it like a proper chance where I kind of don't give myself the excuse and I tell myself that I'm not allowed to DNF. I want to give myself that so I can give it a chance, so I can actually fully read it and then be fully able to form an opinion. I'm a bit worried that I'm going to get 100 pages through and be like, I can't do this, but I'm really going to push through. Basically all I really know is just it's about a band of female space pirates, which the concept sounds great. The concept sounds so great, but what I remember from the kind of 50 pages that I read and then DNF'd, I just wasn't really engaged. I kind of just want to go in with a clean slate and just start it and just see what happens. And I do know that a lot of people, especially people who, I'm not saying that people who are friends with Sasha rate it biasly, but I think people who are friends with Sasha do rate it probably higher than people who aren't. I'm not going in to shade anybody. I'm literally here just to see if people's opinions are correct, or if I think people's opinions are right. I'm just here to have a good time. I'm just here to read a book and form an opinion. If I don't like the book, it doesn't mean I don't like Sasha. I love Sasha. I've been watching Sasha for years. It just means I don't like the book. So I'm just going to go into it. I'm just going to pretend that like Sasha didn't write this. Who? Sasha? Who? So that is what this vlog is going to be. It's going to be me reading the highest and the lowest rated book on my Goodreads TBR. I'm so excited to start this vlog series because I feel like I need some sort of consistency on my channel at this moment in time. I don't want to spoil too much about what the other videos or the other video ideas I have that are in mind. I don't want to spoil those too much. I have a couple the next 2 months kind of planned, and August I probably won't do one because those are the newts, so I want to concentrate on that and kind of, you know, I'll be vlogging those weekly anyway, so I think August will be a month I skip. But then hopefully for the rest of the year and for not, I'm about to say time as if I'm gonna, yeah. But hopefully from then on I'll just carry on with the series. I think next month is gonna be these two books versus something else, and you'll find out what. And then I think the month after that is going to be this book versus that book. But I'm very, very excited for this new vlog series, which is, I'm just very, very excited. I'm so excited that I started it. Unlike my other reading vlogs, I'm not going to like update every day. I'm not going to update loads. I'm gonna basically, I think I'm gonna update when I get a quarter, halfway, 3/4, and when I finish the book. But basically it's 2 books, and these books, like this book is thick. Both of them are they're pretty decent sized books. So if I was updating every day, it'd be the longest vlog ever, and I'm just not there for editing and all that. I just feel like it's a good structure. I love structure, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna leave this here, and I will see you when I reach a quarter of the way through The Name of the Wind. I'm very excited for this. Please let me know in the comments below if you're excited, because I'm really worried. I'm gonna put this out here and people will be like, we don't care, Charlotte. I will catch you all later when I am a quarter of the way through The Name of the Wind. Hello everybody. I've just propped you literally up against my window so I could come very up close. I'm just here to say that I am a quarter of the way through The Name of the Wind. I like it, it's good. I think because it's high adult fantasy and I'm not used to that. Like, I don't think I've ever read a high adult fantasy. So this is a task. It takes a lot of concentration and it's hard to get through it quickly. I'm not saying I want to get through it quickly. When I need to read like 60 pages or 65 pages a day, it can take a lot out of you. It is a good book, and the writing is very descriptive and it's very detailed, and it really puts you in this world, and it's very atmospheric. I think if I wasn't doing this for a video and I wasn't really determined to get through it all, I'd probably give it till halfway and then might evaluate it. But I know I really want to push through and finish it, obviously, and the fact that it's taken me like 2-3 days to get to a quarter of the way through shows how big and how detailed it is. But overall, I like, is it Kothi? I don't know how to pronounce his name. I like him as a character. I think he's really great. If you're curious, it is about this guy called Kothi, I don't know how to pronounce his name, and he runs this in this fantasy world in this little town, and he's just, you know, he's just an innkeeper. That's all he is. It's all he wants to be. What we start to learn about him is that he is this very famous, very notable, he's just very well known in this world. And this guy comes to his inn, works out who he is, and says, I want to tell your story. I want to tell the world and tell everybody what your story really is, because I feel like some people in the world don't really know him properly and kind of make assumptions about him. The first like 7-8 chapters is just us establishing him working in this inn, and then once he meets this character called Chronicler, I think that's his name, Chronicler. Once he's met that character and, you know, the whole thing of like, oh, I want to tell your story is established, we then predominantly focus on his past and we see him as a boy. But then we also get chapters of him kind of coming back to the present and kind of just taking a break from the story. So it is detailed and it is a very complex world, but I think that's what I really like about it, is how atmospheric this world is and how much you can get into the world. The world is very expansive and it's very well written, because it's not just, this is the world, go and enjoy it. Patrick Rothfuss really does go into this world and gives us stories about the world and, you know, tales, really goes into depth about the history and the way this world works and the people of this world. So that's what I think I really enjoy about it, and what does make it slower and more complex but also makes it great, because we're really still on the part of him as a boy. I am not tired of that kind of era, but I would like to see it move on and would like to see him older, because I know that when we get to the university aspect of it, that's the really good part apparently. So far it's like a 4 out of 5 stars. So it's not like there yet. If this carries on like this and that's what my rating would be at the end of the book, I wouldn't be too mad. I wouldn't be like, this is a complete disappointment. I'm going to carry on and get to halfway, and that's when I will next update you. I'm intrigued to see where else it's going to go and to see it progress and to see this world progress and to see his story progress. I'll catch you when I'm halfway through. Hello everybody, I am now about halfway through The Name of the Wind, and I gotta say, It's getting good. We've now got to, and I've read a decent chunk of like him at university and pretty much his time at university. I think it will still continue, but we've read a decent chunk from it, and that is definitely my favourite part. I think I love his character development there. How he changes and his demeanour and the vibe of the book changes from him being on the streets as a boy to proving his worth at university. He does get off the wrong foot with some people, and because he's younger than the rest of them, that does prove a difficulty for him, and people are right, it's a very good part of the book. So obviously I'm halfway through, so we've got another big half to go, so I'm really curious to know where it's going to go. I take it it's going to be his life, or some more of university, but then his life after the university and how that is, and how maybe the university affected him, and how just to see what brought him to the moment we are at the beginning of the book. And I'm just very intrigued to see that. It's going really good, and I definitely think it's living up to the hype that everyone's talking about. I think because it strictly is adult fantasy, it's not as good as it could be. For me, I'm not reacting to it and I'm not loving it as much as some people do, because it is adult fantasy and it's harder for me to love it. But I still do really love some of these characters, and especially our main character. I probably don't love it as much as some people who love adult fantasy and high fantasy do. I think I already knew that going in, and I knew that I'd have to be aware that I wouldn't love it as much as some people would. I don't think I have much else to say. There are some great one-liners. I've tabbed a bit more around here. I wasn't really tabbing that much, but I've tabbed a few really great moments that made me laugh, that made me kind of go, oh my god, this is crazy, and made me kind of really love our main character. I'm very excited to continue. This is a really quick update, and I don't think I have much else to say apart from that it's getting good and I really like it, and I can't wait to continue. So I'll catch you when I'm at 3/4 of the way through. I'm 3/4 of the way through The Name of the Wind, so I'm basically like page 500 pretty much. Obviously we know that halfway through I was really enjoying it and was just like, yeah boy, loving this, really good, loving the university setting. But I think this past quarter hasn't been bad. It's still been good. It's just dipped a bit. I just feel like the plot's dragging a little bit, and I'm finding it harder to stay with and to continue engaging with the plot. I'm not saying the plot's not there, and I'm not saying that the plot's bad and I don't like it. I just feel like it drags a bit, but it's still good. I'm still enjoying it, and I think, as I've said multiple times, characters overplot anytime. So the fact that I really like our main character, he's very flawed, he's not the best person, but he's a good character, I think that really helps me to stay engaged and to continue liking this book. But I'm going to keep going, I'm going to finish this last bit. I think I'm hopefully finished this by Monday, and it's Saturday right now. It was taking me a while to read this book, but you know, I knew that it's a big boy. I definitely haven't been tabbing as much in this past quarter than the last one. That kind of shows that it's not been as good as kind of when I got to halfway. Overall, I'm still enjoying it, and I still think it will be around a 4 or 4.25. So not like god tier, but like top tier, like top great tier. Our main character Kothi, now that he's kind of got used to the university setting and he's made his way around it and he's kind of established his life there, he's kind of doing more now. He's doing more to go on the path that he's always wanted to go on. I'm not going to spoil it, but something happens in this book and in his story that really sets him on the path for life and really sets him on this mission that he wants to come do, and to, you know, it's kind of his life goal almost. I think now he's taking more steps to do that, because in the university that kind of came at pause as he was trying to get used to being at university and this new life he had, even though his main reason for going to university was because of this goal he was trying to achieve. It was kind of put on pause because he has to adapt to this new life. He had to adapt with getting money and then having money and then friends and then being around other people who know who he is and like are aware of his actions, whereas before he was on the streets with nobody. But now it's kind of like he's now actively doing stuff to kind of go towards that goal or to that mission he's wanting to complete. So 3/4 of the way through, gonna hopefully finish this in the next few days, and then I can give a good roundup of what I felt about this book and if I thought it lived up to the hype. So I'm gonna leave this here. I will catch you when I have finished it. I can't believe I'm nearly finished this book. It's thick, so I'm very proud of myself. I did it. I finished The Name of the Wind. I can't believe I have, because it's such a big book and I've been meaning to read it for so long, but I finally finished it and I think I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 stars. Basically what happened in the last quarter was there was a part of the book that I just felt like, I can't remember what I wrote exactly. The story took a path, or took like a little kind of detour to something that I understood why it was doing it, but at the same time I didn't really like it and didn't think it was done well. I think it was very like abrupt and ajar. I can't think of words right now. English is not happening. It was kind of quite off-putting and quite jarring, kind of took me out of the story, I felt. That was probably what lowered it a little bit for me. I just felt like the tone and the feel of it was a bit off. I just wasn't completely engaged, but I think the last kind of 50-ish pages was good because it kind of came back to where we were, or have been throughout quite a lot of the book. And I think I enjoyed that and it kind of brought it back up. The ending, I think, wasn't anything shocking. It wasn't anything like, oh my god, that's such a big cliffhanger. But it did have me intrigued, it did have me going like, okay, like I'm intrigued to see where the rest of the series is gonna go. As we're doing a roundup of this book and a roundup of my thoughts on it in context of this video, obviously this video is me going, this is the highest rated book on my TBR, does it live up to that? And I think it does and it doesn't. It does if you love adult fantasy. I think if you love adult fantasy and adult fantasy is your go-to genre and you love a lot of books and that's like your main favourite genre, I think it will live up to the hype because it was a really, really good book and it was really fun and it was very much like I knew this world was very much detailed and explained. I have just so happened to be watching Lord of the Rings while I've been reading this, or just yesterday, and I'm finishing off the day I'm just rewatching or watching for the first time since I was like a kid, The Two Towers. I can see many similarities and I can see how, not that obviously Patrick Rothfuss has copied Lord of the Rings, because it's hard to write an adult fantasy without having some influence from the Lord of the Rings, because the Lord of the Rings is the grounding, is the foundations for adult fantasy, I feel. But I can see parallels which obviously aren't intentional, and I'm not saying that he's copied it, but between that and Lord of the Rings, which you get with every adult fantasy, and in the terms of it being detailed and explored, and it's a really, really great detailed explored world, which is kind of just what I said. So that is an aspect of this book that I enjoyed, and I enjoyed our main character. I thought he was a really good main character in terms of he was fun, but he was flawed, and you didn't really agree with some of the stuff he did, but I also really cared for him and I also really wanted him to do good because he is our main character and we are seeing it from his perspective and we are getting this story told about him. You obviously do care about him and you do obviously want the best for him and you want him to be on top and want him to, when people are being mean to him and when, you know, people think they're better than him, you want him to be like, no, this is our main character, this is our boy. There are some side characters that I really enjoyed. His friends that he made in the university I thought were really great and I really enjoyed them. I think one problem I do have was the love interest. I just kind of found her a bit annoying. I don't know if this is a trend when guys write love interests, especially in like high adult fantasy books, the trend of the girl being all mysterious and all kind of, they even say in this that she's cruel. Like, it's obvious that our main character loves her or likes her at least, but sometimes she just completely just ignores him and it's just like, oh, I'm just gonna go off with this guy and then this guy and then go off with this guy and I'm not gonna talk to you for ages, and they kind of comment on that, but I'm just like, is that a trend? And maybe it's just me and it's just not something I enjoy, but I just kind of found it a little bit annoying, which kind of made me not like her, which then made me be like, you deserve better, mate. But overall I enjoyed it and I definitely glad I read it. I just personally, for me as somebody who doesn't go towards an adult fantasy and adult high fantasy is not my like go-to genre, it's not my favourite genre, I definitely think I enjoyed it less than people who do like that genre, which I said before. If you love this genre, I definitely think it'll live up to the hype, but overall it lived up to the hype. I did enjoy it, but I don't think it's like god tier for me. Me personally, it's definitely not god tier. I think it was a win situation here. Goodreads, you're mainly right, but just not on par. I still think it's a great book. So we will now be moving on to Zenith. I'm going to read a little bit of this today and I'll obviously start it more tomorrow. I'm nervous because obviously, as I said, I've read this. I read like 50 pages of this at the end of last year and didn't really get on with it, but I want to give it a second chance and maybe if I just really push myself I can get into it and hopefully form a good opinion. But I will wrap this up here so I can go and start reading this, and so it's kind of dinner time, so I should go and have some tea. I will catch you all when I'm quarter of the way through Zenith. So I am officially a quarter of the way through Zenith because we know that not a lot of people liked it. I don't know what I expected in terms of that level. Did I expect to go in being like, this is going to be the worst book ever and I'm going to hate every second of it? Or did I expect to go in with it being like, I'm going to enjoy it but it's just not going to be like good tip? But now I'm a quarter of the way through. I think so far I'd have to give it like between a 2.5 and a 3. Liked it at first. I was like, okay, I'm actually not hating it. I'm actually like, this is alright. But I think as the story progresses, I'm just slowly getting a little bit tired tired of it. Not necessarily tired of the book, but tired of how some of it is written. I think my main issue is the characters. The characters just don't feel right. They just don't feel like proper characters. They just feel like archetypes of characters, are very cliche archetypes of this kind of genre and of YA in general. We get told a lot about these characters. We get told that these characters are badass. Our main character is called the Bloody Baroness and that she's very like renowned. With what we're told about her, it just feels a bit like, I don't know, it feels like we just get told it but we don't get any evidence and we don't get any, obviously we get an understanding, but what we're told so far about her is that she's just the girl. And maybe that will come into play. Maybe it's like, oh, maybe she's not as badass, and or not that she's badass, or maybe she's not as scary and brutal as maybe people think she is. Maybe that's obviously something that comes into play. But I just feel like these characters are very much archetypes and very much like just formulaic characters we've seen before. Maybe I'm looking into it too much, but I just sometimes feel like their characters aren't fleshed out enough. And there are a lot of characters that we're apparently meant to know and apparently get used to because each chapter is from a different perspective. I think I got to about chapter 11 and there's already 6 people that we'd had perspective from, and some of them I didn't even know who these people were, and I think I'm now up to like 7 or 8. There's a lot of characters that maybe it's hold a mysterious element and we'll learn about these characters more, but some of these chapters start from these new perspectives of people and I'm apparently expected, it feels like I'm expected to know these characters and understand who these characters are, where I'm just reading it, even if they're short chapters, just reading it feeling lost, being like, am I meant to understand who these people are? Is this meant to have an effect on me? And I find myself not wanting to be engaged or not being engaged with the story, so I find myself lost and confused. I'm bashing it more than I feel like I should or I want to be. I'm still, I don't want to say enjoying it, I'm still not hating it. It's alright. I'm just gonna see where it goes. I'm hoping it gets better, I get used to all of this, but I'm just gonna leave this here. We'll see how this goes. I'm hoping if it improves, but I have a feeling it won't, obviously because of the track record. I'll read the next quarter and I'll update you when I'm there. So I'm now halfway through Zenith and it is not getting better. I think I am slowly losing, not my patience, but like my drive. I'm definitely feeling myself thinking if I wasn't reading this for this video and wanted to finish it so I can get a full review and, you know, of it, then I would have DNF'd it by now 100%, because I'm just kind of getting a little bit tired of the writing, the quirkiness of it, if that's the right word. Like yesterday or last night I looked at reviews and what people have to say about it, obviously the lower reviews. What they were saying was what I'm thinking, but it was stuff that I was thinking that I was like, no, it's fine. I'm being too dramatic about it, but the fact that other people think that. I think the main problem with this book is the characters and the amount of characters and the switching between perspectives. There are a lot of characters and I just once again feel like they're not very fleshed out. They're not characters that I can connect with. They're not characters that I understand. As a lot of people said in those reviews, they're very cliche and very quirky, like these characters who have these special traits, and because it's sci-fi, they're maybe aliens and they look different and all this, but it's just very laughable and very just trying too much. It's almost really weird because there's one point when something crazy is happening and our main character, the captain of the ship, is worried about her co-pilot or something like that because she's got this skin that maybe burns up and she's getting stressed, so her clothes are gonna burn, and I'm like, what? Like, I get it, it's sci-fi and you want to be a bit quirky, you don't want it just to be humans, because it's like a character with like 2 heads, which at first I'm like, is this American Horror Story? But I'm like, okay, I can look past that. But when you've got a character whose their clothes are gonna start burning up because they're stressed and what? Like, I'm just a bit like, okay, I can't really picture these characters in my head. The many characters that we're meant to be following, I think I saw in someone's review, because I've lost count, it's maybe 6 or 7. With that many characters we're getting perspectives from, it just gets messy. I did note it, like I did like tab it and say that it's not just the different assigned perspective chapters, with it being like, oh, this one's from Andy, I'm just gonna call it Andy's perspective, and this one's from Dex's perspective. It's also the fact that in some chapters it will clearly state in the beginning of the chapter this is from Andy's perspective, but you have like 1 page and then you have a paragraph break or a page break, and then it will be from Dex's perspective, and then you'll go back to Andy's perspective, and then you'll go back to Dex's, then you go back to Andy's, and it's like, I thought this was Andy's chapter. If you're gonna have short chapters, that are from one person's perspective, keep it to that one person, otherwise I'm going to forget that you're switching and it's going to get all confusing. Also, with all these characters and all these perspectives of different chapters, one chapter ends and then we'll go on to another character's perspective who's nothing to do with the storyline that we're going from Andy's storyline, and then we'll jump back into Andy's storyline and I'm just like, oh wait, we're back into that, and wait, what's going on? We ended one chapter from Andy's perspective of the systems in, you know, her ship being like, alert, alert, like something's happening, and then we'll end the chapter, which, you know, is crazy, it's a cliffhanger, that's cool, and then you would expect the next chapter to be like resolving that and seeing what's going on, but it goes to someone else's perspective, and because I'm so in with that and something's happening in that and something crazy is happening within that perspective, but it's just nothing to do with Andy, when we go back to Andy's perspective, I'm like, wait, what was happening? It's just too much. It's too jarring. You can tell that I'm slowly getting a bit tired of this. Weirdly, I did have a pink moment, and I did have a moment that I liked. So it was a moment from the guy that they're having to rescue, who's also the brother of a girl that Andy used to know. And this girl, kind of low-key spoilers, this girl, the sister, died, and he's like looking back and like how, you know, how much that affected him. And that was actually quite a nice moment. It was actually quite nice. Like, it felt raw, it felt real, it felt him really kind of looking back and kind of feeling guilty, but also hating Andy for, you know, his sister's death. So that was actually a good part that I enjoyed, but the rest of it is just very messy and it's very frustrating. I want to say I'm hoping it gets better, but I don't think it will. I'm definitely now going to think it's going to be no more than a 2.5. I've only got half of it left. Hopefully I can push through and finish it as soon as possible. I'll see you at 3/4 of the way through. Hopefully I'm less ranty, I'm less mad. So I'll catch you all at 3/4. I would like to make a formal apology to everybody who thought I'd get through this video with completing both these books. I DNF'd it.
It looks like we have some clowns who are desperate for airtime.
Maybe it was because yesterday wasn't a good day for me, but I was trying to read it when I was feeling a bit better and I just couldn't. I'm not going to apologise because I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to apologise for stopping myself going through pain. I shouldn't have to apologise for doing what I want to do. I think I got probably 40 pages from when I last updated you and I just can't. I'm just a bit tired and I'm sick of the lack of world building, the bland, boring, don't know what the hell's going on characters, the messy structure, as you've all kind of heard me talk about. There's nothing else new for me to say. Nothing is making me want to like this book. Nothing is pushing me to finish this book. I'm sitting here, reading it, hating myself. I'm sitting here, reading it, and just wanting to rip my hair out. We're DNFing it, and we're giving it 1 star. No wonder I DNF'd it at 50 pages last time. I got to about 315 pages, and I just had to be like,
no ma'am, no ma'am, no ma'am. No ma'am.
I don't really know what else to say apart from I just couldn't. To wrap up my thoughts on this and into context of what this video is about, rightly deserves its place because it was just so messy and just not good. I almost think it should be even lower in terms of rate, like it's just not good. So overall, The Name of the Wind, I don't think necessarily should be the best book or the top book on my TBR. Obviously the books that I think should be above it are books I've already read, so that doesn't really make sense because obviously they're not going to be on my TBR if I read them. So it's not God tier, but it's a good tier, it's a great tier, it's a really good book, I really did enjoy it, but I just don't think it's like God tier for me, but it's probably for some other people. This one rightly deserves its place, should be at the bottom, I DNF'd it, it should be lower, I don't. So we had 2 books that were very juxtaposed. This was highly rated, this was lowly rated, and it worked. It kind of worked basically. This video was both a success in the terms of the ratings were right, but also a failure because I hated this and I DNF'd it and it made me hate myself. So I hope you enjoyed the first video in this new vlog series that I'm going to do. Next month, I feel like I'm a lot more excited for, even though the 2 books haven't got the best kind of cred on BookTube, I'm still excited because of the context of the video. So stay tuned for that. But this one, I had fun. It's now making me doubt whether I want to do a high versus low rated video again, because that was the kind of one that I was thinking I could repeat because it's an easy one to repeat. I can probably do it more in the future because I've got more planned in between. I hope you enjoyed this video despite me almost having a breakdown at the end of it. I had fun, a lot of fun, and I hope you did and will stick around for the rest of this vlog series. I don't think I'm in focus. If you're new around here, do not forget to subscribe so you can stick around for more of these vlog series videos, and turn my notification bell so you know when I'm going to post in general. Like the video and comment if you've read any of these books and your opinions on them, if you agree with me. And with that all said and done, I will see you all in my next video.